Alien is a great movie, a classic, but upon first viewing it felt familiar somehow, like I had seen it before. 20th Century Fox has always had a good run with science fiction movies. What's more, their films of this type have generally been pretty good. There was 1952's The Day the Earth Stood Still and 1958's Journey to the Center of the Earth. In the 60s, Fox released Fantastic Voyage and Planet of the Apes, and then in the 70s there was Star Wars and all that followed. And one of the things that followed was Alien. I saw Alien opening week at the Egyptian Theater because I thought the stylish one-sheet suggested a sophisticated approach to the material. The space freighter Nostromo is towing a refinery back to Earth when their journey is interrupted. The 7-person crew is awakened from hypersleep and shortly discover they're not home yet. In fact, they're only halfway there. Mother, the ship's computer, has received an emergency acoustical beacon, and contractually they're required to investigate the source, especially as it may involve an intelligent life form. The scene of them having breakfast around the communal dining table establishes the different crew members in a relaxed convivial atmosphere. Once reaching orbit around a planetary moon, the tug disengages from the refinery platform, but it's a turbulent descent and the ship is damaged upon landing. While repairs are being made, a 3-person team sets out on foot to find the source of the beacon. What they find is a derelict spaceship of a kind they've never seen before, and neither have we, as H.R. Geiger's stunningly sexualized designs take us by surprise. So of course the team enters the spaceship and find the skeletal remains of some giant space jockey. Meanwhile, back on the tug, Ripley thinks the beacon may actually be a warning. While back on the derelict spaceship, they discover a vast underground chamber filled with leathery eggs. And then we have one of the all-time classic horror tropes as John Hurt, who plays Kane, bends down to inspect one of the eggs. And we know it's going to be bad. The baby alien rockets from its shell and attaches itself to Kane's face. It's called the face hugger, but we didn't know that back then. Once back inside their own ship, they put Kane in quarantine and discover that this creature has inserted a tube down his throat. But in the morning, the baby alien has slipped off his face and appears to be dead. Thinking everything's okay, they decide to have one last meal before returning to hypersleep, but Kane has a massive and frighteningly real seizure that ends with a small alien creature bursting out of his chest. It's a powerfully graphic scene, made all the more horrific because it suggested cancer and other diseases from within. Veronica Cartwright, whom I fondly remembered from my childhood viewings of The Birds, plays Lambert, whose spontaneous onset reaction to the chestburster scene has gone down in cinematic lore. And so it's hide and seek in the old dark spaceship. And then I realized where I had seen the movie before. It was It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Sigourney, what? How do you spell that? Oh, she's the hero? Okay, but poor Tom Skerritt, because he's been set up from the beginning as the captain of the ship, the leader, the hero, and Skerritt's great. He's by turns low-key and professional, and other times peevishly angry. Like everyone else aboard, he just wants to get home. So in a mid-movie Hitchcockian-style reversal, Ripley is now the leader of the gang. And it worked, as the character and the actress come into focus, and we're with her all the way. Below decks, we have YAPPET KOTTO and Harry Dean Stanton, the mechanics who keep this tub going. They bitch and moan, as is the right of all working men, until they really have something to bitch and moan about. Ian Holm plays Ash, the science officer who turns out to be a robot who bleeds milk. So if you're lactose intolerant, there are some rough seas ahead. From Ridley Scott's compositional eye to Geiger's nightmare designs to the brilliant ensemble playing, these elements elevate the entire film. Later, coming out of the theater, I heard some surfer dude say, "Man, that was gnarly." And I laughed because it was so dead on. And it was the first time I ever heard the word gnarly. And looking back, you can chart the progression of gnarly through the popular movies of the 70s. That pretty much started with The Exorcist. That was righteously gnarly as the devil took over a 12-year-old Linda Blair and Jesus wept. Jaws was gnarly because it ate people, both the shark and the movie, and this baby chomped down on you and swung you around. And then there was the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and who among us doesn't think that hairy pods aren't gnarly? Then there was Midnight Express, also with John Hurt and Brad Davis, who chews off a guy's tongue and spits it right into the camera. Definitely gnarly. And then came Alien, and it was the gnarliest of them all. 20 years later, I'm lighting a play about black soldiers lost in the woods. The play climaxes with a big firefight as the soldiers turn on each other. Now, the prop person came up with these great-looking M16 replicas, but what are the actors going to do? Play machine gun? So as much as I hate them, I suggested we use a strobe. So the actors and director blocked the firefight to the strobe and to the sound effects I also provided, and it worked great. The point is, in theater you have to post a note to the audience if you're using strobes because it might affect those who are prone to epilepsy. And there's a scene near the end of Alien when Ripley's racing through the ship's corridors and Ridley Scott pulls out all the stops with rotating lights and heavy strobes. Now, I'm not an epileptic, but even I had to look away because it's its own kind of gnarly. See you around the campus.